Hey, welcome back, folks, to Max and Horsemanship. And yeah, we're not in the tack room today. We're in the car because it's a lot warmer because it's stinking cold out today. And, well, the forecast is actually supposed to be down to, I don't know, it's tonight or tomorrow night. It's supposed to hit minus 40. And if you're wondering whether that's Fahrenheit or Celsius, it doesn't matter. Both scales end up the same at minus 40, and it's ridiculously cold. And I'm not going to stand outside doing a video. In fact, no, I'm not even going to do much of a video here, just the intro and extro. And I'm going to actually take a video that I did years ago and insert it in between, or at least a good portion of it. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I want to talk about personal space. It's a subject that a lot of people talk about. And unless you're having problems later on, it's a completely different scenario. But if you've been watching my training videos with the youngsters, you'll notice that right off the bat, I started off, I was firm with them. I called the shots. I made them move. And I established who's who at the zoo. And I'm the boss. And that's all there is to it. And if you get that right off the bat, well, you're not going to have problems with personal space. And, well, I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in the video that you're going to watch here right now. And explain it and give you an example of it, too, exactly how it works. It's really quite a simple thing. So just watch this video. It's not a long one. You got time. I know you do. You won't even finish your coffee before the video is over. So sit back, watch the video, and absorb some of the knowledge. Because I think it's going to be helpful. It's worked for me for many years. Today I want to talk about personal space. And this guy's going to help me. I hope. He's actually not going to be an ideal example because of the fact that he's got issues still. He's still got a bit of a problem with his separation anxiety. So I am basically his herd when I'm in here with him. I become his security, his comfort. And so he likes to be fairly close to me, possibly a little bit closer than he should be. Most horses, well, there's this little magical distance they seem to always end up being. And it's a very natural thing for a horse to have respect personal space. Now, and this is something a lot of people get really, really hung up on, this whole personal space. They got to keep the horse out of your space, got to make them respect your space. You know what? If you're doing your job and you're worthy of respect, that horse is going to respect your space. You don't have to teach it. Now, there are exceptions, well, tiny ones anyhow. Like when I'm first teaching him to lead. If you go back to that video where I was leading this guy, I showed you how when he got a little too close to me, I'd swing the lead around me and make him back up away from me. That is basically the only time that I enforce personal space. Other than that, it's like I've said in a few other videos, it's how they behave when they're in your space is far more important to me than whether or not they're in your space. And if you become the leader to your horse that it needs, it's going to automatically respect your space. It's just a very natural thing for horses. They have a personal bubble, and a higher horse has a little space around it that a lower horse is not going to come into. And if he says, hey, you get away from me, believe me, that lower horse is going to get in a heck of a hurry. Now, in his case, he actually, because he's a little insecure, he likes to be a little closer to me than normally a horse should be, in my opinion. But I don't worry about it. He doesn't crowd me. He doesn't push on me. He's pretty good. So I'm not even the least bit concerned about that. Because, like I said, it's how they behave when they're in your space that matters, not whether or not they're in your space. People waste too much time and energy and get all hung up on that nonsense and always worrying about, oh my goodness, he's in my space. I got to make him step back. He's got to respect my space. Well, you know what? If he doesn't respect you, he's not going to respect your space. So it's really got little to do with personal space. Because if you got everything else working the way it should, the horse is going to automatically respect your space. It's going to happen. You don't have to do anything. And, this guy, typically, when a horse approaches me, If I have already established myself as the higher horse, yeah, I'm not a horse, I know that, and they know that too. I would never think a horse is that stupid. They're much smarter than that. But typically, they will always be about arm's length to the nose. Now, in his case, somebody else just walked into the arena here, so he's going to go check them out now and see if there's somebody. Oh no, they moved the door, that's what it was. So now he's all fascinated with the door. He's still got a bit of an issue with the door, which we're going to go to deal with in a minute here. And then possibly we're going to show you something about the personal space thing and how he naturally reacts to it. And he's still a little on the worried side. There you go. You saw how he come trotting up to me, and right in between me and the camera, of course. I can't even reach his nose. That's where he stopped. He's not in my space. Even though he really wanted to be with me, and he even came trotting to me. That's how fast he came, and that's how bad he wanted to be with me. He didn't bump me. He didn't crowd me. And then once he stopped, I came into his space. See how that works? I can approach him. He's not allowed to approach me. That's the rules, but I don't have to enforce them because they're just, like I said, you know, this stuff is very, very natural for a horse. You don't have to enforce it. They'll just do it, you know, and I'm going to come a little closer to the camera now, and I'm not going to do a thing. He's going to come over here because that's what he does, and he's going to stop in the way, of course. But you see, he's not crowding me. He's not pushing on me. He's not bumping into me. He's very nervous. You can see he's actually shaking a little, if you can see. That's not from the cold, by the way. That's actually nerves because he was outside in the wind. He wasn't shaking. It wasn't until after he got in here, separated from his herd. Back up, sir. And so that's how the whole personal space thing works. It's very, very natural. You know? He's not going to bump into me. He's not going to crowd me. You know, he hasn't even got a lead on. You know, this is where he wants to be. This is totally up to him. His natural behavior, his natural connection with me. And if you have everything else working the way you're supposed to with your horse, this is exactly what you're going to get too. You're going to have a horse that A, wants to be with you, but when it is with you, it will maintain a respectful distance. And, well, the whole respect thing, you know, that's... There you go. Another perfect example. And that's about the distance they seem to like. I don't know why. I don't understand it. I have no explanation for it, but if you reach your arm out as far as you can, you'll be able to touch their nose. That just seems to be the way they do things. And yeah, back to that respect thing again. Like I said, I did a video on that subject a while back, and you know, it's a case of, are you worthy of respect? You know, respect is not something you can demand, and you get these people to, you know, I'm going to teach him respect. I'm going to make him get out of my space. He's going to respect my space. Well, if you got to do stuff like that, then you got a problem. It has nothing to do with your personal space whatsoever. As you can see, is he in my space? My arm is out as far as it can go, and I can't even touch his nose, and he is exactly where he wants to be, where he thinks it is appropriate to be with me. So, do you need to teach personal space? I don't think so, not really. You got to get them paying attention and stuff, and that's why when I first start leading them, which is one of the very first things you do, you know, I teach them to pay attention and, you know, keep a certain distance and everything, but, you know, the specific distance and that really doesn't, you know, there's nothing that you have to actually teach because it becomes, it's quite natural, like I said, you know. You can see right now where he's standing. He's not in my space. He's not on top of me. He's not crowding me. He's not bumping into me. And I don't have to do a darn thing about it because there's nothing to do anything about. So is personal space something that you actually need to teach your horse? I don't think so. You need to be a person that is worthy of the respect that comes with them respecting your personal space. It's actually not about the horse. It's actually about you. If you are the person that you need to be for your horse will respect your space. That's kind of it in a nutshell. Like I said, it wasn't going to be a long one, but hopefully it's going to be helpful. And I hope you paid attention and you got something out of that video, because, personal space, well, there's a little more to it. If you got an older horse and it's developed some bad habits, there's some ways of dealing with that too that I'm not addressing in that video. Maybe I will in another one. We'll just see. But as a rule, it's not something that I've ever really had to deal with, because right off the bat, I get firm with where my lines are. And right from the beginning, if you do that, and you always do, you're never going to have any problems. It'll be just like you saw in the video. And that was, by the way, that just a little backstory. That was an off-the-track thoroughbred I hadn't been working with for very long. And in some respects, he had some problems that were really, really bad, far worse than I'd ever seen before. But, so it wasn't one of my own horses. It wasn't a been there, done it horse. It was a very high-strung, nervous, worried horse, and yet you saw what we got. Total respect of my personal space. So there you go. Hope that was helpful. See you on the next one. Bye now.